Monster Hunter World can be quite overwhelming for a new player. There are quite a few vendors and a lot on screen once you reach the main hub area of the base game, not to mention all the tutorials you are thrown into. So today I will be bringing you an updated and refined 2024 beginner's guide for Monster Hunter World that will hopefully ease your way into this absolutely phenomenal entry in the Monster Hunter franchise. Starting it off, we have the lore. So if you are a bit lost as to what is going on, you play as a hunter that is supported by an assistant handler and a palico, which is pretty much a fighting cat, and all of which are a part of the 5th Fleet, and you've been summoned by the Research Commission to support in the new world. Over the course of the early stages in the story, you notice that something is wrong with the ecosystem and how monsters are going from one area to another in quite a weird way, and you pretty much are sent in to investigate, and the story unravels from there. Next up, we have the Defender armor. So when you are creating your character, you are able to pick what armor set they start off with, whether that is leather, alloy, or the Defender / Guardian sets. So in this case, you typically do not want to pick the Defender set unless you are looking for a way to get to Iceborne quickly. If you have already picked the Defender armor and finish the character creation off, you can still change this in the equipment area, whether that's in your home base, in the tent during a quest, or if that's in the training area itself. So don't worry too much if you've already picked this armor, but basically you do not want to use this unless you want an easy experience, whether that is because you want to just enjoy the game for the mechanics and not actually want to have a insane amount of difficulty, or you want an easy way to get to Iceborne quickly, which is typically what the armor is intended for. If you are completely new to the series, I wouldn't recommend this, as you do want to pick up the mechanics early on instead of picking up the mechanics way later, as the Defender set will make the base game an absolute cakewalk. The Defender weapons also apply to this rule. If you do want an easier experience in terms of the damage you output, for the base game at least, the Defender weapons will make this extremely easy, and their crafting materials as well as their upgrade materials are very easy to acquire, so definitely keep this in mind when playing as a newbie or as a returning player. As for the vendors, so in my previous guide for Monster Hunter World, I think go into this in too much detail. Basically, in the Astera hub world, you will have a shop where you can buy your potions and stuff. You'll have a farm where you can grow honey and other various little plant-based things that will help you in the field. You have your canteen where you can eat and get your food benefits, and then you have the smithy that crafts your armor and weapons. In terms of vendors, you will learn as you play. You will come across them naturally, so don't worry too much about all the vendors in the hub world. You will definitely come across them when the time is right, and of course you can just play the game as normal. Don't think too much about it, and if there is something you need to find, simply just Google where can I find blank, where can I find the smithy, where can I find Melder, for example, and that will definitely make it a lot easier of an experience for yourself. The canteen is the one area that I will go into specifically, and this is where you can eat food prior to a quest for a few benefits, and you do get to see the benefits the food will give you. So if the max amount of stamina and health food can give you is plus 50 on both, so I think you start off with, for example, plus 10 on stamina, no health. Some foods might give you plus 10 on both, plus 25 on health. Eventually you will get plus 50 on most items, but you will learn which ones you should be mix and matching. Once again, this will come with time as to what you should be eating, and you will naturally pick it up for sure, so don't worry too much about that. There will be side quests that will be marked with the reward in the canteen, so you will most likely not miss this. If you do go through all your quests, like just scroll through them, you will be able to obviously tell which ones will upgrade your canteen. As for weapon choice, so this is probably one of the biggest areas of a starter's first experience. There are 14 weapons in Monster Hunter World. You do want to make sure that you test all of them if necessary, or just go to whichever one you find as the coolest. Some of them will be harder to learn than others, but they all will have a fun learning curve, assuming it's the weapon for you. So you will eventually most likely try everything and choose what you truly are a fan of, and make sure you make use of the training area as well, as this will be an amazing area and tool for you to easily try all the weapons, all their combos, and truly feel out which weapon is for you. Make sure that you don't just try one weapon and think that is Monster Hunter and fall off the game, as for example you might have greatsword users who prefer heavy hitting attacks but you quickly evade out, so a lot of your time is spent positioning and evading, but when you are getting your hits in, you hit extremely hard. Or you might go for something like the dual blades where you move extremely quick and positioning is much easier for you to execute upon, but you're dishing out a lot less damage, but you're hitting very quickly, so it's kind of starting to compensate with speed instead of power, whereas greatsword is the direct opposite. And then you have the lance where you're once again positioning is key, but you have quite a strong guard and also a lot of reach, but you're not as agile as the dual blades, for example, or even the sword and shield, which is another weapon that a lot of beginners tend to go towards, which is extremely strong given the small form factor. So don't always think that just because it's really small it's not going to be powerful. Wink wink. Moving on to our next area, we have when to upgrade. So for upgrading, I think this is definitely something that you do as you progress. So when you feel like you're getting hit harder than normal, upgrade your armor. As for weapons, I feel like this is something you should upgrade as soon as you can while you progress. You might make a few branches of weapons where you have a water element, a raw element, and for those of you who don't know, raw element is just where you have no element at all. So you'll have raw and then fire, water, dragon, so forth. Do keep in mind that all armors from low rank, high rank and master rank are separate, so if you are upgrading a low rank armor, you can't eventually upgrade that into the high rank variant. So if you are a completionist that likes to collect all the armor sets, do keep this in mind. If you are wanting to just collect all the highest grades of the armor, you wait until master rank for that, so that would be the Iceborne expansion is where you start collecting armors. But if you are a hardcore completionist or you are only playing the base game, then feel free to collect low rank and high rank armors, but just do keep in mind they will not travel across to the next rank, so they will get capped off quite low, and then master rank will cap off at the highest possible tier. And then as for weapons, that's actually different, where you can carry it into master rank, as they will simply upgrade into their high rank and master rank variants when you get to those points in the game. Of course, if there is anything I've missed and you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below, as I will say at the end. But moving on to the next part, we have collect and carve everything. This tip, it goes a long way if you do get into the habit of it, but collecting and carving everything, you may need it at some point later on, so it is just a lot easier to get it while you can and while it's in your way when you're doing something else, instead of backtracking for specific pieces. So if you do go past a mining node, feel free to take that time to just quickly mine it and move on, instead of having to just blast past the monster and then end up realizing you need a specific ore for a weapon upgrade or crafting a specific armor or talisman, and then you're gonna have to load into a expedition and go all the way to that node and hope you get it, and then move on to the next one, hope you get it, and then so forth. So if you are just in a quest where you're hunting a great Jagras, for example, and you see a few herbs on the way, a few mining nodes, feel free to collect those as you go. And the same goes for carving monsters. So if you do kill a monster, make sure you are getting your carves in. Even if they are smaller monsters, for the most part, try to do this where you can, as it will be quite helpful in the long run. Honestly, this is one of the best tips for the game in general. Do not be one of those people that just likes to kill a monster and just move on to the next. Even for the smaller monsters, I think that's where this comes into play the most, as some people can just assume, oh, it's a small monster, I probably won't need its pieces, but trust me, you will need those pieces for these really peculiar pieces of armor, most likely going to be talismans. You will need them at some point, so it's nice to just get them while they're in your way. For the next tip is a bit of a small one, but quite an important one as well, as I do think many people do forget that this exists, and that is there are provisions at the base camp This will provide you with potions and rations and a few other little goodies that can help you save on your own resources, and these resources are literally made for you to use in your quest and will disappear afterwards, so make sure you are making use of them, and they are found in the little box that is outside your big tent, so definitely make sure you are aware of this. SOS and multiplayer. So the SOS flare mechanic in Monster Hunter World, you will be told about this as you play, but if you did miss it and for some reason forget, or whatever the reason may be, you can shoot an SOS flare from your menu while in a quest for assistance, and when you shoot that flare off, it will ping up on other hunters that you are looking for assistance in a quest. They can find you through the quest board, and they can just simply pick up your quest, jump into it, and help you with whatever monster you're having trouble in slaying. As for the multiplayer lobbies themselves, Monster Hunter World does provide 16 player lobbies, and you can search to find a lobby of other hunters with specific filters or no filter at all. So you can have a bit of an easier time when you post a quest. Whatever other hunters are in that lobby, they will be able to see that you've posted a quest and can join up on it, assuming you've set the right player count and the quest allows for additional players. For the most part, I think the rest you will learn as you go, so definitely don't overwhelm yourself and think that, oh, there's a lot on screen that I need to understand straight away. This will come with time. But finally, guys, the last tip I'm going to give is a bit of a cop-out generic one, but it's not actually. And that is just to simply enjoy the game and the journey. You don't have to worry too much if there is a lot on screen when you first start playing and there's a lot you don't understand. This will naturally come with time. That is the point I emphasize the most. A lot of players assume that they need to understand everything straight away, but a lot of it will be explained as you play the game. I don't recommend rushing through the game, just play at your own pace, and if you can find other people to play with, it does make the experience a lot better. But if you are a solo player, the experience is just as good. Of course, it depends on what you prefer in a Monster Hunter game, and just gaming as a whole. If you do prefer to play alone, Monster Hunter is a game that does make it possible, and you can play with other people quite easily using its lobbies, if there are certain quests that you need a bit of help with. Remember, make sure to try every weapon, as you may be turned off by some of them, and just in general, make sure to branch out to the community if you need some help with anything. The Monster Hunter community is amazing, and just from me and the rest of the community, welcome to Monster Hunter. And if you haven't already, and this is your first video that you're watching from the Monster Hunter series, feel free to join my Discord, link is at the top of the description. There are a lot of other awesome Monster Hunter players in there, and we would love to have you with us, whether that is just to chat about general life, ask for tips in Monster Hunter, or simply looking for someone else to play with. You will find someone in there for those various activities. And yeah, guys, thank you all so much for watching the video. Be sure to comment if there is anything you need support with in the game, and feel free to smash that like button if you did enjoy the video. It would be extremely appreciated, and it does help out the channel a ton, and subscribe for a lot more Monster Hunter content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.